Developing and settling the land for a new country has always provided opportunities for conflict. Such was the case in settling Canada West, or as we now know it, southwestern Ontario. Many of Lambton's earlier settlers had a military background, having served in European wars and some in the Revolutionary War in the U.S. prior to making new homes here in Canada. In the early years in Lambton, there was a standing militia, which included all able-bodied men, usually undrilled, unarmed, and without uniforms. Each man was required to report for muster and to sign the roll on a given date each year. One example of a militia unit for which there is a muster roll still remaining is the Port Sarnia Company Reserve Militia of about 1854, with 71 names ranging in age from 18 to 53, 28 of them unmarried, 42 of them married, one widowed. In 1855, a report of a commission to consider the question of defense was made to His Excellency Sir Edmund Walker Head, Baronet, Governor-General of British North America, and Captain-General and Governor-in-Chief in and over the provinces of Canada, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and the island of Prince Edward, and Vice Admiral of the same. Now that is quite some title. The report recommended the establishment of one company of foot, 50 strong, at Fort Sarnia. This would be difficult since there never was a Fort Sarnia. Although a small military unit occupied the Methodist Church for a short time during the 1837-38 rebellion, and there was a small building designated as Fort Lynx at the entrance to the tunnel in 1917-18. The report of 1855 also showed that at that time there was a combined male population in Essex, Kent, and Lambton counties and Chatham town of 9,312 between 18 and 40, of which 5,346 were bachelors. It was not until 1866 that a permanent military unit was formed here in Lambton County. At the time of the threat of Fenian raids from 1866 to 1870, the military spirit in the Canadas was greatly stimulated. It was during this exciting time that the 1st Lambton Battalion was organized, based on a nucleus of several existing independent militia organizations. A general order dated 14 September 1866 authorized the formation of the 27th Lambton Battalion, with headquarters at Sarnia, to be composed of volunteer companies at Sarnia, Oil Springs, Moortown, Whitter, and Warwick. The Moortown Company was authorized to do mounted duty as required. Within 6 months, additional companies were authorized at Moore and Watford. As well, a battery of garrison artillery with headquarters in Sarnia was authorized. The Lambton Battalion now had 8 companies. A few years later, in 1871, the Moortown Company was struck off the strength of the Lambton Battalion, and a new company authorized for Forest. The former Moortown Company became a troop of cavalry, which in later years became a troop of the 1st Hussars, the home regiment of George Sturt. In 1872, the unit was redesignated as 27th Lambton Battalion of Infantry, St. Clair Borders, with a motto, Semper Paratus et Fidelis, always ready and faithful. In 1900, the word battalion was changed to regiment. A newspaper report of 1895 states that the battalion was at full strength of 283 men, 21 sergeants, 21 corporals, and 6 buglers when they encamped at Carling Heights in June for 12 days of military exercises, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Ellis. On the outbreak of war in August of 1914, a detachment of officers and men proceeded to Valcartier with the 1st contingent volunteering to serve in August 1914. 5 officers and 131 other ranks from the Lambton Regiment were posted to the 1st Battalion, Canadian Expeditionary Force. Militia units as such did not serve as units of the CEF in the First World War, but did provide a great number of volunteers to the individual battalions as they were formed. Locally, detachments were assigned to perform guard duty at the Marconi Wireless Station at Point Edward and at the Grand Trunk Railway tunnel, which had been built in 1890. Many others followed from Lambton and served. Following the Great War, the regiment was re-established, perpetuating the 70th and 149th Battalions of the CEF. The regiment now had its headquarters in 2 companies in Sarnia, 1 company in Petrolia, and 1 in Watford. In 1928, the 2 outlying companies were moved to Sarnia, and the Lambton Regiment now identified with the city of Sarnia. The Lambton Regiment remained as a militia unit until it was disbanded in December 1936 and replaced by the 26th Lambton Field Battery, Royal Canadian Artillery, the 11th Field Company, Royal Canadian Engineers, and the No. 1 Park Company, Royal Canadian Engineers. The war record of the 70th and 149th Battalions in World War I was perpetuated in the colors of the Lambton Regiment. Battle honors include Somme 1916, Arras 1917-18, Hill 70, Ypres 1917, Amiens, Hindenburg Line, and Pursuit to Mons. During these actions, records indicate that a total of 6,771 men and officers representing the Lambton Regiment participated. Many of these men were wounded or paid the supreme sacrifice. They are honored each year on Remembrance Day. We should continue to honor their memory every day.